Hello, everyone. I am TaSh, and I'm your host for Cheat Codes Podcast for Women in Games International. I've been with WIGI for a little over 2 years, and so much has changed for me. I've had the pleasure of meeting and talking to some heavy hitters in the gaming industry, and I have also been invited to speak and host in spaces that I would never have imagined being in. Before WIGI, I feel like in this time I've learned a lot about myself because before WIGI, I would not call myself a gamer. But now I know that all gamers are not a monolith and gamer is not a dirty word. And it also took me one full year of being with WIGI to stop saying that I'm not in the gaming industry. I wouldn't call it imposter syndrome, but I had such a limited view of the industry that I didn't think that I could be part of it without being a programmer or a producer. I also realized in this time that I'm not shy because I always say I'm shy. I have my shy moments. I am an introvert, but I thrive when I get to connect to people and talk about things like diversity and inclusion in the gaming space, being neurodivergent, or rock star women in the gaming industry. So this month, I have a pleasure of talking to a rock star. Not only do we have the pleasure of being work colleagues, but we've kicked butt and had so many snacks playing D&D together. Hello, will you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello. I don't know if kick butt was like necessarily what we did in D, or maybe what
No,
I
we
didn't
didn't.
do in D&D because I couldn't roll for my life. But hi.
You are correct. We what I meant to say was we did our best.
I feel like I failed and you just watched me like disappointingly, like your character, not you specifically, but I know you were dying inside, being like, poor child. But hello, my name is Chantelle Ouano, and I am the communications manager at Women in Games International. WIGI.
So your communications, this is all the marketing, the things that come out of the door are you.
Yeah, so I'd say, okay, so primarily I do the newsletter, our website, and our social media. So those are the three things that I manage. So a lot of outward facing things for sure, but yeah.
So everyone should be on your good side then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you want to be reposted? Do you want to be replied to?
Is that what you want right
Is
now?
that what you want? Well, be nice. Thank you.
So you went to GDC last month. What was that like?
Crazy. I honestly like having like the opportunity to even go to GDC. Like I feel like I've always heard of it. And I know that it's like one of the big like conferences specifically within the gaming industry. But I don't think I would ever think to go because I'm not a developer and it's literally in the name, Game Developer Conference.
Yes.
But yeah, I was there for one of our programs, the Get in the Game program. And it's my second time being there, so I was there last year for the same program. And yeah, it was really crazy. It was like a lot to take in just a week. Like I think like everything happens so quickly. There's a lot of cool things, a lot of cool people that are there. So it's just like a really like interesting environment to be in, and like especially when you're working remotely, like seeing that amount of people, like that's the
Right.
most I've just seen within the last 2 years or so. But yeah, it's really crazy.
So in this podcast, I talk a lot about feelings. I talk about opportunities and things, but I don't talk so much about wiki programming. And I think it's important for people to know about what we get to do and how we get to contribute to this space. I know, especially open world dialogue, we talked about social impact. And I think it's important to mention our programs and mention our social impact. So, can you tell us a little bit more about Get in the Game?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so Get in the Game program is, I'd have to say, it's one of my favorite programs, next to Cheat Codes, of course. No, not just saying that. But yeah.
I paid her to say that. Every time she says that,
Do I
she
get a
gets a
snack after
Venmo.
this?
Yes.
Did I do good?
Yes, yes. Good job.
No, but yeah, so get in the game. I think for genuinely for me, I think it's really impactful just seeing it happen all in real time. So the Get in the Game program is like usually um like in tandem with like a conference, like a in-person conference. So whether that be DICE, GDC, ESI, Gamescom. So like essentially we're taking mentees and mentors to these places because they're really expensive. Honestly, like I was looking at the tickets, and if it wasn't for WIGI to kind of like pay for these things, like I don't know how people really would afford it, or
Right.
like especially if they're kind of people trying to get into the industry. Like the prices are a little ridiculous. Um but yeah, so we get to take them to these conferences, help them network, kind of get like package them up to, you know, set them up for success, to either pitch themselves to like different companies or different people, to make sure that they're connecting with the right people, getting a job, like getting funding for their game or their company. Yeah, so essentially just like setting them up for success, without having to worry about the financial aspect of it, because you know, you can get a free ticket to these conferences, but like what about the flights? What about the, like,
Right.
you know, your everyday, like, you know, like paying for your meals and just like the hotels, like all of that really like adds up. And it's like really cool to see that like we can provide this to like our mentees and like even the mentors as well. Um and they don't have to worry about like any of those, like those stresses, because that is like a huge thing to worry about. All they need to worry about is just, you know, the conference itself and just marketing themselves. And we have like these breakfasts every morning with like different industry leaders, and like kind of just like to inspire them and like ask questions and like ask for advice. So yeah, it's like a really, I just love the program because you get to see really their transformation from like the beginning, where they're
Right.
really nervous about talking about themselves. They're very like, you know, very shy, very like, oh, I'm unsure about like the direction that I want to go to, or like what I can offer this industry. And then by the end of it, if they haven't lost their voice, they're very like loud. They're very like loud about it, confident, you know, they like know what they want. They have a better understanding of it. And then they've like come and talked to us and told us that like, oh, I met so and so. Oh, I have an interview after this, or like I have an interview during like this like part, like so whatever. And we're all like cheering each other on. And like they ask questions and like, well, what should we do, and all that stuff. So it's really cool to see like what can happen within like just a short period amount of time. And you're just like, wow, my baby
I
growing.
and I love that because a lot of it is about connections and about making yourself seen. And if you don't feel secure enough to do that because this is as a financial problem for you, or you're not around people who are supportive, it really kind of takes so much pressure off so that you can be fully yourself. And I think that it's such a great opportunity.
Yeah, it really is. Like I don't know what I would have like. I feel like it's like one of those things where it's like, where was this like when, you know, you're like just starting and stuff like that. And not saying that um like, I don't know, like just for it's just like really cool. Like it's very
Yeah.
cool to see, and like this opportunity that they get, and what they do with it. And like it really pays off, like especially the ones that really like give it their all. You can see now like the success like year over year. So it's really cool.
So what was the highlight for GDC beyond getting the game? What was the highlight for you?
Ooh, okay. So I have a couple actually. I wrote it down. But so there was three major things that kind of like stood out to me. So number one, the like I just mentioned, like year over year kind of seemed really vague. Like what do you mean? Like but seeing so I went to GDC last year. Again, like so the mentees that we had last year, they were actually the first time that we ever had like students specifically, because usually because
Ah,
of like conferences like this, like we wanted to be like 21 plus because of just like all of the after parties, like, you don't want to like
Right.
the whole like legality of it is like want to make sure that like yeah they're like adults and they can handle themselves. But like last year specifically we had students because they were from Google Scholars. Um, and that was like very interesting in itself because they were very like obviously they're either still in school or like just about to graduate,
Right.
and they're just like just seeing the world through their eyes is just so it's so refreshing, you know, like they're very green, they're very excited, they're like confused, they just like don't know the possibilities of like what the industry can offer. And then just again seeing them and their growth like after and being like yeah like I know what I want to do after this, or like I have a interview lined up and all that stuff. So um anyways, this has a point. But I ended up seeing like some of the mentees from last year, this year, like and like being like, "Oh, I'm here with my work now," and I'm like,
Oh, wow.
"Oh my gosh!" Like,
You've
hello,
grown up. Right.
yeah, like I'm so proud of you. Like this is awesome. Like yeah, your their work sent them, and like you know they're here on official work business. Like so it's like really crazy because again it was like some of their first times or even like knowing about the conference, and then the fact that they got to come back a year later with their work and just like tell
That's
me about
cool.
their updates and everything. They're like full adults now. It's just like really
Right.
weird.
I love those full circle moments though. I mean, because sometimes we kind of lose sight of what we're doing and why. And then because we're doing it so much, and until then when someone comes back and like, "Hey, it's me."
Yeah,
It's oh, this is why I'm going. This is why
I
I keep doing
know.
it.
Yeah, and like the fact that honestly they were just like I'm so like happy, I'm so grateful like for Wiggy and whatnot, and I'm like I it's just like surreal to like see like because again because you were working remote right for the most part um it's like it's hard like you don't really know like if you're making an
Right.
impact like what are we doing because like we're kind of just like behind our screens all of that, but to visually like see physically in person that like we've actually made an impact, they've gotten a job after this, they say that like their confidence was built after Wiki, like it's it's just so I don't know, and like the fact that like they're also so like excited to like help out as much as they can like with Wiki because they're like well like yeah we got so much help from Wiki, like we want to help the community as well. So like on our Discord they were like saying that and like trying to like meet up with different people, and so it was really cool. It was very surreal like seeing our past mentees and just like their appreciation for like Wiki as a whole was like that was like number one. Number two, there was an event that I found like actually pretty last minute. It was posted in our Discord, and when I saw it I was like this is a thing. But it was called the Filipinos at Riot event. um I was shocked particularly, so just like for context for people who
Like
don't know
at
me,
Riot Games?
yeah, like
Yes?
it was like a I think it was like an ERG like within
Wow.
so like they host like this like Filipinos at Riot event. They
Yeah.
have like a they have their own like little cohort. And I'm like in my head like I don't know, it's like again to give context I'm Filipino, Canadian slash American. And I don't know, like I've never like I was just like there's that many of us in the
Right.
industry that have a group like like I don't know if that's like very like naive of me to say or just like kind of just like ignorant to say, but like when I go to these conferences like there's not like I don't see like people who are like me like a lot.
Right.
And like the fact that specifically like Filipino, um yeah, I was like, "Oh, this is crazy." And like it makes sense. Like Riot has like a Filipino agent now. Like, you know, like they obviously gotten like inspiration from their workers and whatnot. And like but I don't know. It's just like it's such a weird thing. And so when I attended the event, like just like having to connect with people who are literally like me, kind of had like a similar upbringing. Um I don't know. I was like very honestly a little bit emotional like after it. Like it was very yeah. Like I said, surreal. I don't have really much words because those are just the best
I
way
get
I could
that.
describe it. Like,
Yeah. This is one reason that I feel reinvigorated to keep going because I'm always looking for myself. Because when you are in a marginalized group, you don't know if it's safe until you see a reflection of you somewhere. You
mhm.
see that person thriving, you see that person's okay, then you know that, and that's society. So
Yeah.
it's not like some sort of mental hang up or me not
Mhm.
being brave, is that we have to be able to protect ourselves because we can receive so much emotional damage from the world and from the
Yeah.
spaces that we occupy. So I love that you found you were like, "Hey, that's me. You're me. I'm
Yeah.
you. We're each other.
Yeah.
I see
Like,
you, you see me." Right?
it was so crazy, and then, like, we had Filipino food too, so, like, that was a plus like that. So I was very like, "Oh my god, I feel just at home."
I know as
Um,
a foodie, you appreciate that so much.
100%. I was like, "Yep, this is great. We're checking off the list. We're having a family party
Yes.
right now. This is great." Um, yeah, and, like, I guess, like, just as in a little of a side of what you were saying that, like, you need to see yourself to kind of feel comfortable in the space. That's actually, like, how I really got into the industry, or, like, considered that, like, "Oh, this could be a career path." Like, it was during the pandemic that, I started watching streamers a lot more because, there's, like, really nothing else to do. And, I found this streamer. She was, like, half Filipina, American, and she just became one of the biggest streamers. Like, she's one of the biggest streamers right now. Her name is Valkyrie, for people who don't know. Um, but yeah, she was, like, streaming, and, she, like, blew up after this, and I'm like, "Wait, she's Filipino." And she's a streamer, she's in gaming, like, is that a thing? Again, like, I
Right.
just didn't know that there were people out there like me, and so seeing her just made me feel like, "Wow, maybe I can do this, like, can I pursue a career in gaming?" And I yeah, and now I am. So it's like a full circle moment. So yeah, like,
I like
again,
it.
the connections there. And then the last thing that was like a huge highlight was, like, again, I said that I went to GDC last year, and it was really cool. It was, like, very interesting. But this year, I don't know, there's something that, like, clicked to me that was just
Mm.
like, can I make a game? Like, I'm like, for complete context too, like, I'm not like a programmer, I'm not like a coder or anything of that. Like, I'm not like very technical. I'm not an artist either. But, like, what I do am obviously passionate about is, like, communications, like, storytelling,
Right.
like, writing and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know, like, listening to all these, like, panels, like, I went to, like, this, like, woman's creator, um like, panel from, like, Epic Games. Like, that was the first thing that I attended when I got there. Um, and they were just like, literally anyone can make a game. Like, not you don't have to be you don't have to be a programmer. You don't have to, like, have that background. Like, there's so
Right.
many resources out there now that if you want to make a game, you can. Like, you can totally do that. And then just, like, that theme was kind of, like, reoccurring throughout GDC of, like, really, like, they're just marketing it as like, yeah, literally anyone can
Yes.
make a game. Like, here are the resources to do so. Here are, like, connect with people, like-minded people. And then the mentees, like, I was talking to the mentees about it, and, like, they were giving me advice about, like, yeah, you should join game jams. Like, if you're really serious about this, like, you could try this. Here are these resources, blah blah blah. Like, if you need any help, or if you want to do it, like, we can do it together. Like, they were just, like, so excited
Oh,
that,
I
like,
love that.
yeah, like, I was like, "Okay, I'm soaking this all in, like, I'm learning from you." So, yeah, it's, again, like, I feel like the title of, like, mentor, mentee it's literally just a title because we're all
It
learning from
is.
each other. Um, I think, like, that's just, like, the best part of, like, mentorship as a whole is that, like, it's not one-sided. It was very much like an exchange.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I love that. So
Yeah.
what what's something you would say that you've learned about yourself, and because we've been with Wiggy for around the same time.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
what's something that you've discovered about yourself?
Wow, that's a really good question. I What have I discovered about myself? I think just that really, like, there's no limitations. Like, I okay, that sounds, like, really lame in the sense, or, like, maybe corny in a bit, but if you really want something, like, you can get it. Like, what is
Right.
stopping you? So we briefly had a conversation about this earlier, but it's like, do you wanna make a game? Okay. What's stopping you? Like, it's like,
Right.
oh, like, I'm telling for me, it's like me telling myself, like, well, I don't know how to draw, I don't know how to code, like, what do I do? But it's like, okay, but there's like resources for you to do that. Or you can also like collaborate with like different people on that. Like,
Right.
it doesn't have to be just you, you know?
These
Um
questions have answers.
yeah, these questions have answers. Like, who would have thought? Like,
Right.
not me, apparently. Um, but yeah, what is stopping you from doing the things that you love? And at first it was like, again, with like even just like joining the industry, like not having that as a possibility. Um,
Right.
I love gaming. I've like been a gamer since like as long as I can remember, but again, like, why didn't I never think that was a path? Like, like it was
Right.
just like something that I told myself that like, no, you can't do that. Like, no, no one, no one does that. No one like you does that. No one, you
Right.
know. But yeah, but it's just like if you think of something, someone else is like probably thinking about it, and there's like probably resources that are there. And then if not, then why can't you make it yourself, right? Like, what's
Sure.
what's stopping you from doing yourself? And again, it's very like easier said than done. And it not saying that it doesn't take work to do that. It can't just like poof like come out of like thin air, but
And
like
it's scary.
yeah, and it's scary. But like if you really are passionate about it, if you really like have um yeah, like if you really want it, like there's a way.
W
There's a way to do
one
the
thing
thing.
one thing I figured out through WIGI is that you can 100% turn your passion into something that you do for work, because I thought, like, you have a passion and then you have a job.
Mhm.
Like, like, it's
They're very
not the same
separate.
thing. And for some people, they prefer it that way, and for some people,
Mhm.
that's very true, but I would like to have it be the same. And watching people and getting to talk to people whose passion is their job, that's been really inspiring and enlightening for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it like seeing other people do it. Like I don't think I've ever been exposed to so many like go-getters in my life. Like and like I think that also like speaks about um like me as a whole, right? Like I'm not surrounding myself with those people because
Right.
maybe I don't see myself like that, right? Like is that like maybe I just feel like an imposter or something, Like people say that you surround yourself with um what's that saying? I don't even know.
Like, who, like, you surround yourself with, like, who you want to be, or
Yeah, something like
yes.
that. Or like it's reflective to that. And I'm not saying that the people around me already, like my friends and stuff like that, they're not like go-getters or anything, but at the same time, I just like I've never like we all have like very similar experiences, like we have very
Right.
similar upbringings. um so if you meet more people, learn about their stories and stuff like that, the more you kind of get a better understanding of the world, and that's kind of how it works. And it sounds very simple, but you just have to step out and see what the
Yes.
world has to offer, because you really don't know if you're kind of like
Right. Because yeah, the answer may be no. It may be no, but what if it's yes?
mhm.
What if have you seen that meme that says, "What if it all works out?"
What if
I
it
keep
all
thinking
yeah.
about that because, like, so much I feel like so much, has been kind of discouraging lately, especially because I
Mhm,
I shared before we started recording, and I'll share to those of you listening. I was feeling really down. I was
mhm,
feeling pretty some of the lowest that I have felt in a long time, and it was
mhm,
hard for me to come out of this deep sadness because I was already doing the things that got me out of the last sadness.
Mhm.
All the lists, I had checked all those boxes, but now those were just part of who I am now. So I knew I had to do something new, but I didn't know what that was. So that just made me even more sad.
I know. It's just like you have like you nitpick at like what's like you don't realize that there's like other things that are going right for you, or
Right.
there's things to be thankful for, there's things to be grateful for. But like once you start like digging at yourself and like being like, oh, this is bad, oh, this is bad,
Mhm.
oh my god, this is everything's bad now, and you're like,
That
no,
is
that's
true.
not really the case. But yeah, I felt very similar to you in that sense that like I feel like I've just like been in a rut, and
Mhm.
like we were both talking about like going through the motions of like everyday life but not realizing um what the bigger picture is.
Right. And we're both storytellers. We can write a new story now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm tired of this one.
I'm tired of this. I'm
I feel like it's
tired of
been
this,
going
Grandpa.
it's going on for too long.
So we one reason why I wanted to talk to you today is because I think with Wiggy coming up on 20 years, I think it's important to say, hey, this is what we're doing. It's not just about Chico. It's not just about talking to people in the industry, but we have some amazing things coming up. For instance, we have the 18K.
Yeah.
So we know for a fact. But before I get into this part of it, I'm gonna share what someone posted on LinkedIn. So so so
Boy.
this guy had posted, and I'm gonna read it verbatim because there are screenshots. So
It's
he
an
posted,
actual thing
it
someone
is an
posted.
actual thing.
Yeah.
Yes. He posted, and apparently I was connected with him. And I say was, but he posted, when a man with no education in an industry gets a job over a woman with a trade ticket in the industry plus years of experience, people will likely jump to the industry isn't ready for women. The reality is the hiring manager prioritized giving someone new to the industry a chance. They also offered market value pay and didn't try to lowball the person because they had no experience. Not every decision by a hiring manager is purely about gender, skill, or money. Sometimes it's about giving opportunity. Now, I say that.
I just oh my god.
I should wrote I wrote to him on the post, and I just said, imagine thinking this in 2024, and he blocked me, and I'm the only person he blocked. So I don't
You're
I
just
don't
very
know.
mad that you pointed out that it was 2024 because one, he either knew and he's like, "Why are you telling me this?" Or two, he's like, "Oh my god, we're in 2024." I
Right.
That's like the real
It has to be.
solution. I
He's
think that's like
obviously a
the
time
only reason why.
traveler, and I ruined this for
And
him.
yeah, and he's like, "Oh my god, you blew my cover." Like, why would you? I think that's like the only reason why. That's the only thing I can think of.
So like that being said, someone having this thought in 2024, we already know for a fact that women earn an average of 82% of what men earn. But it's well documented. The Pew
Mhm.
Research Center analysis of median hourly earnings of full and part-time workers told us this. So that's 18 cents less for every dollar a man earns.
Mhm.
For moms, for women of color, and women with disabilities, the pay variance is even higher. That means we're making so much less
Less.
with skill, with talent, with ability, with all of those things. So Wiki has a program that will go from March until August of this year, and which is going to work to close the pay gap through free to access programs, workshops, panels, and initiatives for 38,000 gaming professionals, just to help us cross the finish line. And this is going to be, it's going to be like it's a fun thing. So
Mhm.
it's according to your ability. You can walk, run, or play your way to 18 kilometers in support of raising awareness to promote and change and close this pay gap. So I'll make sure I
Mhm.
drop the link to that resource in the comments.
Yes.
We we know that it's not all about just giving just a random unqualified guy a chance. We know historically that that's not true. We know the story. We know that there are so many places where people are being paid less just for the simple fact that they are a woman or they're a mother or they're a person of color. We know those things already. So it's infuriating to me that someone can stand on that with their whole chest.
What even like gets me upset. So like say this was true, right? Like say this was like, say whatever. This is like the narrative that he has clearly convinced himself of. But the fact is like too that like some like I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna just hear me out, okay? I'm gonna get to the bridge like eventually, but essentially like they say too that like research says that like women also don't like apply to the same amount of like jobs because of like just because like they've like not hit like 1 or 2 points. Like they like normally like they're just like I have to like hit every single point, but like
like
I have
to be overqualified.
I have to be overqualified for this. Who apparently this person in this scenario is overqualified and is like finally like I have all of these points. They finally mustered up this freaking courage to apply to this job, and then but the male counterpart like applies to it anyway, even if they don't hit even half of the points. Like they have more of the confidence to apply to these different jobs, and like it's just like. Do you see the connection that I'm trying to make here? Like
I see the connection.
I don't know how to talk about it.
I just got a rejection letter. Apparently, I applied to be VP of operations for like the Grammys or something. Like I was like, what was that? I mean, of course it's a no, but they did say no. But what if it had been yes? What if they were like, you know what? Sure.
Yeah, like, they don't have a lot of industry experience. Let's do it. Let's give them a chance. Let's give them the VP position. Yeah, for sure.
I was sometimes I surprised myself when I get a rejection letter. I was like, oh, I was ambitious. Good job, actually.
No, that's why really not? Good. Yeah. Literally, why not?
Because on the off chance, what if the answer is yes?
Yeah. And you'll never know if you.
I will never
know. You'll never know if you didn't take that shot.
I just saw it. I was like, oh, this looks like a cool job. Sure.
Why not? Honestly, like, literally, what do you have to lose?
Because this is a full position. It has procedures in place. It has all those things. I can do that. Yeah. I'm not saying it'll be easy for me. Yeah. I'm not saying this is an easy job, but I look at it, oh my God, those are just, this, I can do all those things. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm adaptable. Like, I can work under pressure. That's fine.
I don't have to work myself up. No, straight to VP of operations. That's what I'm going for.
But you know what? Honestly, good for you. Like, genuinely, you should start applying. Like, apply to more jobs because why not? Because you might get this chance. Apparently that's an option.
Yes. According to this guy, he's giving a random unqualified male a chance. No education.
But yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
Like
it's fine.
No, it's fine. just do it anyway. Like moral of the story, just apply. Just apply.
Yeah.
Like again, like literally the worst that can happen is they don't reply. And that's the reality.
Or they, I think this one for the Grammy Museum, they had sent the rejection maybe like a year later or something, and I was like,
at least they replied.
All right. Forgot that happened.
Yeah, I forgot that happened. But thanks for reminding me of how confident I was. And and your loss. It's fine. It's fine.
It's on them. That's on them.
Yeah, no, it's not a me thing.
Because the whole time, this is a year later, you're just now hiring someone. Imagine the revenue that you've lost in this time. You could have just hired me.
You really did that to yourself, huh?
They're only hurting themselves.
Yeah. What kind of budget you guys have, you can throw money like that and not hire for a whole year. You could have
They
done,
just picked me.
could have picked me, and we could have gotten it
Yes.
done. Yeah,
I would
we
have
would have.
showed up in my Converse and my soft overalls, like, "Hey guys," in my little backpack. "Hey,
Hey, I'm ready to learn.
let's go."
I'm ready to
Go.
do it. Who do I get to boss around right now?
"Hey you, get me some coffee." Just kidding. I don't drink coffee. Also, you're doing amazing.
You're
You're
doing
doing
amazing. You can
amazing.
have the coffee instead
You
of
can have
me.
the coffee. Matter of fact, I'm sorry I spoke to you that way. Take the day off. That'll be my first day.
Everyone listening right now is getting an inside look into how we. This is
Yeah.
how we talk. This is.
This is how we know we're in the right space.
Yeah.
So I have a question. We have great banter. I love talking to you. What are
Storytellers.
some ways that we as women can support each other in this space?
I think just what we did. I think like laughing or having like a sense of humor of it all. Like I know there obviously are serious topics about the industry and whatnot, but I think like making those connections with people, having it like being a little bit lighthearted about things that the struggles that we're going through. Like it's okay like to have struggles, and it's okay to laugh about them sometimes, or it's okay to kind of or cry about them sometimes. Like it's okay.
Right.
Right. And verbalizing it and like talking to someone about um your issues, and the struggles that you go through, um you never really know like if like someone is going through the same thing until you say something about it. So you know you're not alone in this, and I know that like that's probably you've heard that a lot, and it's like it's said a lot for a reason. But I genuinely think that like through talking through these things, through um like sharing your experiences, sharing your stories, like that's how you make community, that's how you make connections, and that's just how you show that you're human, right? Like I think like that's
Yeah.
like the best part of being human is just like the ability to talk to someone, and just like see how can we vibe, and like how can we help each other, because you can't support or help each other if you don't say anything about it. So
That is true.
um yeah, I think that's like the number one thing.
I know Wigi's based on the foundation of if I knew what I wish I knew before I started. And I feel like that's such a key thing, but not only knowing that there is a community, to know that's like it's like a security, that's a safety. Not
Hmm.
only knowing that there is a community, but also that you can create a community just by speaking up
Hmm.
and say, okay, I don't see myself. Well, what if I like say, hey, I want to start a chat, or I want to start a Discord server. What if those are the things that just help? So
Hmm.
don't be afraid to lean into community. I think
Yeah.
that that's so key, because I think the time when I was the lowest is when I was keeping the most to myself also.
Yeah.
And I think that that did a lot of harm for me. And I don't want anyone else to experience that.
Exactly. It's always like that moment when you like isolate yourself, and like
Mhm.
you're just like literally like crying in the corner, or crying like
Right.
in the car, or like just like those are the times that you feel like so alone, and like you kind of like marinate in that, and like it's okay to feel those feelings, but at the same time you have to do something about them after, or else they'll just get stronger. And
Yeah.
yeah, like it's hard because like especially when you're in it, and like I like literally coming from experience as well, it's like, and sometimes like I'm still trying to get over it, I'm still trying to get over
Right.
like hard times and whatnot, because I'm so used to working through things on my own, or just like not wanting to be a bother to someone else, like not wanting like feeling like oh, like I don't want to like overload someone else with like my own feelings and stuff like that, but I'm willing to listen to someone else's issues, or I'm like, like you're so much kinder to
To other
anyone that's
people. Yes, that is
anyone
true.
else that's not you. But if you even like gave yourself like 5% of that same kindness that you give to others to
Yeah.
yourself, like imagine what you can do. And
Yeah.
like it's shown, like people who are so like, people like, I don't know, people who are so confident, like, or like seem so confident, like they like a lot of the things that they say is that you have to like love yourself first, and I think that's like super important.
Yeah. And one thing I learned from raising kids is that people believe the parenting theory is in order for your kids to be independent, you have to like force them into independence, make them
Hmm.
do things alone. And I learned that security creates independence and
Mhm.
security creates the ability to blossom. So once you feel safe,
Mhm.
those things are easy, and it's
Yeah.
not, it takes kind of takes away the trauma that's attached to being forced into independence or forced into solidarity. And I feel like when we reach out to each other or when we create spaces that are safe, we are creating the ability for people to be stronger in what they do and more creative, and I think that's so important.
Yeah. I like I'm going back to what I said about like not knowing that I can make a game or something like that, or like, having that thought,
Right,
right? Like, and then when I verbalized it to like the mentees and stuff like that, or whoever I talked about it, like they're like, "Yeah, you can." And it just like made me feel like, "Whoa." Like more confident, because it's like, that like I was so scared to like maybe bring it up because I'm like,
right,
"Oh, like I don't have the background. I don't have the same background." But like the fact that like these people like were uplifting me and just being like, "Yeah, you can do it. Like that's awesome. Like, like here are the resources, like all that stuff." Like, you're like,
right.
I can do anything now. Like literally, I can do anything now because you're providing me with resources. So, and like I wouldn't have
That
these
is
things
true.
if I didn't say anything. So yeah, truly, like you have to. Like I felt so safe, like in that, and
Right.
I
Yeah, I
felt so
get that.
safe in
Yes.
sharing that because like there was no judgment. It was just like all like, okay, how can we? What can we do to help? Like what can we do
Right.
to make this happen for you? So yeah, I think that's like, I love that.
I think about all the people that we get to talk to through WIGI, and it's like half and half. So you have half of the people who are like, well, I trained to be a program manager, I did PMI, I did this, I did that, and these are all of my certifications. And
Mhm.
then you have the other people who are like, well, I didn't know what this job was until I got hired as one. And
Yeah.
and so for me, at first that discouraged me
Mhm.
because then I'm thinking, well, how do I get there?
Mhm.
What is the through line? But I realized that even with both sides of that story, everyone talked about their community, how
Mhm.
it was the community who put them into the role as program manager, even though they didn't know what that was. It was the community that recognized that they had the certifications that put them into that role. So
Mhm.
it at the end of it all, it always comes back to community.
Mhm. Yeah, community, and like one thing I'll also say of that too is that like they took their shot. Like
Right.
what, like the person that was like is more like educated and all that stuff, like they decided like I'm going to study this for like to better myself and like whatever. And then the other person who didn't have like that education, they're just like, you know what, I'm gonna just apply to this job, see what
Right.
happens. And like the outcome was the same. Like the like because the what they did is the same, right? Like they both took that leap to do
That is
something.
true.
So yeah, lots of
I
themes going
want
on here.
that is a theme. I like this. So I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for I know it felt like a strange ask because I feel
No.
like I'm always reaching outside to talk to people, but I admire you as a person. I really appreciate your contribution to Wiggy as a whole. And I see you out there shining. Every time you post a picture from GDC and I see
Oh.
the feedback below the pictures and things, I was like, okay. Okay, rock star. Like I'm rooting for you, and
Oh,
I am so proud of you. I'm grateful that I get to know you, and I'm grateful to be in this women in game space with you.
yeah. I really appreciate that because I genuinely feel the same. Like I thank you for honestly those kind words because honestly sometimes too like I feel like because I'm the social person I'm kind of like the one behind the screen and like no one really like knows who I am because like
Yes, that is
I'm
true.
like the person like and I know everyone so like I have a parasocial relationship with everyone like
With
all the speakers that have gone through Wiki all the mentees that have gone through the like and like when I see them in real life I'm like I want to just be like hey like
right,
blah, blah, blah,
it's
like
me.
it's me I
I'm the
post your
wiggy.
stuff I post your stuff. Like I've done like you know,
Yep.
it's just like who are you? Like, oh, sorry. I have to introduce myself because I've already had this like I know everything about you already apparently.
Right.
But yeah, yeah. Like thank you so much for saying that. And like on it it's been my honor because I love listening to you and like as you do cheat codes and like I look up to
Thank
you
you.
as well because you're such a great storyteller and like communicator and interviewer. It's just so I'm so glad to be kind of like on the receiving end of that and it's been such an amazing experience and I thank you for thinking of me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We gotta do this again.
We got it. Yeah, well just like
So
it's banter just the whole time.
yes.
We should
So
just read
where can
comments.
we should just read. We'll have snacks. We'll watch streams or
we'll
something, and then we'll
we'll go
just
through the
comment.
thing. Yeah, just comment.
Yes.
We're gonna be a React channel now. So
Yeah.
keep an
Uh-huh.
eye out for
Yeah.
that.
Tickle me. Okay. So where if people are looking for you outside of Wiki, where can they find you?
Weird. Okay. Well, um, yeah. How can they find me? If you have Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, I don't really like post on that as much. Like I actually it says in my caption that I like lurk, I retweet and like eat all that stuff. But if you do ever want to see what I retweet or anything, it's at Chanticles. So it's CHANTZICLES. And it's the same on Instagram. And then I think like I have a food page there too. I know that's not gaming related, but since we talk about food all the time,
We do.
um, or on LinkedIn, you can connect with me, Chantelle Ouano. We'll probably have it. Will probably tag me in the post. So this is gonna
Yes.
be weird. This is gonna be weird too for me, like
So you're
having
gonna tag yourself in the
taking
post.
myself in the post and then
Yeah.
repost it and be like, "Wow, thank you so much."
I know. Thank you so much, Wiggy, for this
Thank
opportunity.
you, Wiggy, for this opportunity. Thanks for the post. Oh my gosh, like
Thanks for the
talk to myself through through social media. It's fine. I'll like comment down below. Yeah, you know what? If you want to find me, I'll probably comment below on every
I
platform.
like it. I like
So
it.
that will be the way that I can market myself.
I support it. I support it 100%.
Awesome. Just pretend that
So
I'm not talking to myself,
I
okay?
won't. I won't.
Yeah,
And no one, everyone who heard this one part, ignore it.
yeah, exactly. Be be a community member, be a supporter.
Yes.
Like no judgment.
Judgment here. So thank you everyone for tuning into Cheat Codes. I'm your host, TaSh. We can connect on LinkedIn at TaSh Elsie. To stay in the know at Women in Games International, you can visit us at getwiggy.com and subscribe to our newsletter. See what I did there?
Yeah, yeah. Thank
Yes.
you. Yeah, yeah.
And you can also find us on multiple social media platforms at GetWiggy. And if you want to get
Oh,
involved with Wiggy, you can visit us at getwiggy.com/get-involved. Take care, and we will chat soon. Bye.
bye.